Live with studios in Midland and Odessa, you're watching CBS7 First Alert News at 9 on the CW West
The
Texas.
industry is alive and vibrant. We're going to go through some transitions as we go through the climate change, which we need to do. It's very important that we do that, but we're well positioned to be a winner in that process.
The Permian Basin's financial forecast is promising. That's according to a financial expert who went to a meeting today in Odessa. Coming up in a few minutes, we've got more on the importance of the West Texas economy. Good evening, and thanks for joining us here for CBS7 News at 9 on the CW. And thanks for joining us live on the CBS7 YouTube page. I'm Jay Hendricks. We start tonight with a developing story out of Odessa. Disability Rights Texas has filed a complaint with the Texas Education Agency against Ector County ISD. Disability Rights Texas claims ECISD failed to meet federally mandated timelines for the evaluation of students with disabilities. Disability Rights Texas thinks 500 or more students could be denied a free and appropriate public education by the district because testing in accordance to the federal mandate has not been met. The complaint lists 3 violations against the district, the first saying ECISD systematically delayed initial evaluations and reevaluations. The second, that ECISD has failed to meet its child find obligations. And third, saying that ECISD failed to meet its reevaluation obligations under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. Within the complaint against ECISD, the Disability Rights Texas proposed 7 ways for the district to remedy this situation. We've posted all 7 of those remedies on our website. You can read them in full by going to CBS7.com or to our CBS7 News mobile app. Now, ECISD has responded tonight to the complaint, saying that they have been fighting this issue for several years now and that they have taken several steps to increase the availability for qualified diagnosticians, including paying those ECISD diagnosticians additional compensation to conduct reviews on Saturdays, contracting local and virtual diagnosticians, and creating a diagnostician pipeline program with UTPB and Sul Ross State University. You can see the district's full statement and more information on the complaint by going to our website. Just go to CBS7.com. The tailgate in Midland has been operating without proper permits since September. This morning, one of the owners, Sean Elphick, appeared in front of the city council to get approval to continue to host events even without those permits. However, this will come at a cost. The city council made it very clear that they will work to be fair with every business that operates in Midland and that they will treat every business the same. Despite the tailgate not having these permits, some city leaders say they have tried to fix that issue.
You know, a lot of things weren't followed in this ordinance. However, you know, the owners have shown a lot of resiliency in trying to get in compliance with these ordinances.
One of the owners of the tailgate asked the city council if they could find a solution so that they don't have to cancel any weekend events. Council responded by saying that they cannot turn a blind eye simply because their business plans already have been set. The owner says they would accept any consequences that come their way. And our own Noe Ortega has reached out and we'll, of course, have more on this coming up as we get more information. We are tracking crime now. Crane police are looking for this person, Simon Munoz, in connection to a shooting early this morning. According to Crane police officers, they responded to a shots fired call near 21st and Brook at about 1:15 this morning, and now 2 warrants are out for Munoz's arrest. Police ask if you know where he is or if you see him to contact the Crane Police Department or the Crane County Sheriff's Office and do not approach Munoz. Earlier today, Medical Center Hospital law enforcement and hospital staff went through a mock active shooter drill. That drill included acting gunmen, gunshot sounds, and acting victims and casualties. Today at the Wheatley Stewart Medical Pavilion, MCH patients were treated to a different scenario than normal hospital procedures. Patients at the hospital were in a waiting lobby when 2 gunmen entered the building and shot and killed several individuals while injuring others. This, of course, was a shooter drill. One of the gunmen was apprehended by hospital police and taken into custody, and the second barricaded himself in a patient's room. That's the scenario. It was an opportunity for multiple law enforcement agencies to practice working together if this were to actually ever happen.
This was a great opportunity for us to work with OPD and the PD from ECISD as well. They came in, they were able to run through some of their training as well. So this was a large training episode for everybody.
The training is done annually by the hospital, and after every disaster drill, the hospital always has a debriefing with management so that they can go through what they've seen and what they can learn. We're talking public safety. The Midland City Council also heard a presentation today on an update of their new radio system. In fact, this new system would allow clean communication between cities, school districts, and law enforcement in case of an emergency. It would also allow first responders to get clear communication from whichever end if there was a situation that was to happen.
Within Midland County, outside of Midland County, up into Martin County, across even to Winkler and up into Andrews, that we're able to roam just seamlessly and able to communicate with our partners in the region.
Agencies that will subscribe to this system include law enforcement, school districts, first responders, and more. The radio system is in response to communication issues on the day of the tragic mass shooting back in August of 2019.
They mean a lot, you know, not only for the city of Midland, but all the surrounding areas. I think it's very important that we have those communication systems that we can be able to relay information and all of that type of stuff efficiently, you know, throughout the entities.
The new system is expected to be implemented by June of 2024. The Midland City Council also approved the purchase and upfitting of 30 police Tahoes this morning. In fact, the upfitting of cars means adding needed equipment to make them street ready for the department, like computer systems, radios, and cameras. The total cost of the upfit is about $2.6 million. According to the police department, keeping up the fleet is always a priority.
And we're not the only ones out there trying to get vehicles and get these vehicles upfitted in there. And as good as these companies are, if we fall behind in our bids, in our payments, and getting all these things in line, because they will not touch any vehicle without every piece of equipment available for it, you fall behind another group that is ready to go.
2 Silverados were also included in this purchase. According to the City Council agenda, the vehicle purchase was made through Caldwell Country Chevrolet. We're going to talk your weather forecast now. If you've been out the last few days, it's been cloudy, a little bit of rain falling. We're waiting on the sunshine. When will it hit? Let's get an update from Chief Meteorologist Tom Tieferteller. Tom?
Well, it looks like tomorrow's the day for some sunshine, but we're going to start off with some low clouds in the morning. That's still what we're dealing with right now, and we've had some areas of light rain earlier. That has ended, but 1/100th of an inch amounts across parts of the Permian Basin down into the mountain areas. And again, we are still dealing with some low clouds out there at the present time, some mid to high level clouds streaming on top of that, but it looks like these clouds could develop into some areas of fog towards the early morning hours, as temperatures right now 55 in Midland, 55 over towards Big Spring. So a lot of 50s to the upper 40s now in Jowell up towards Hobbs. And we are looking at visibility staying above 10 miles for the most part, 5-mile visibility in the Hobbs area, so we may start to see some pockets of fog develop in southeast New Mexico first. Making plans for the Thanksgiving weekend, or the weekend before Thanksgiving and the Thanksgiving holiday. Looks like the weather's going to be okay. We'll see a little bit of a cool snap, though, coming up next week.
It's that time of year, time for Tom's coats, and as temperatures drop, many West Texans may struggle to stay warm, and that's why Chief Meteorologist Tom Tieferteller is hosting a coat drive. We're looking for gently used or new jackets or sweaters for the drive, and you can donate those at the locations you see listed right there on your screen. Financial expert Dr. Ray Perryman attended the 41st Economic Outlook Conference hosted by Southwest Bank today, emphasizing 2 major features of the Permian Basin economy: the likely successful future for the oil and gas industry, as well as the need to increase quality of life for people who live and work here. The financial expert praised improvements like the recent school bonds that passed, the Permian Basin Behavioral Health Center set to open in 2025, and new entertainment opportunities in the area. As people listened over lunch, he stressed that the Permian Basin needs more employees, but it also needs the community to interact and keep them.
When you grow, you need to, as I've said, make it a place people want to be. We need to train more workers. We need to improve our literacy rate. We need to reduce our poverty rate. We need to have better access to health and mental health care, those kinds of things. All the things that make a place more pleasant to live. We have made a tremendous amount of progress in all of those areas in the past number of years, but we still have a ways to go.
Perryman also told the crowd that the high production of oil and gas alongside more solar and wind energy positions the Permian Basin to remain successful as the industry navigates climate solutions. The Department of Labor released its latest round of inflation numbers, and the Biden administration is cheering what appears to be some good news for American consumers. Gas prices fell 5% from September to October, with gas averaging about $3.35 a gallon nationwide. The report also showed that prices fell or rose more slowly across categories of goods and services, ranging from gasoline and heating oil to housing and used cars. However, grocery store prices rose 0.3% last month, bringing them to 2.1% higher than a year ago at this same time.
Real wages are going up. As a general rule, when the economy is working the way that it should be working, we have a little bit of inflation, the economy is growing, and as a result of that, prices increase.
October is better than expected report is making it less likely that Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell will hike interest rates. The central bank's interest rate setting committee is set to meet in December, or mid-December that is, with the panel expected to focus on economic projections for the coming year. The Consumer Product Safety Commission released a report about fires and injuries during the holiday season, which, as we all know, is right around the corner. Thanksgiving next week, and of course, Christmas just a few weeks away. It says that on average, 1,600 cooking fires happen on Thanksgiving Day, which is 3 times the daily average. The best way, they say, to prevent that is to stay close while food is on the stove or in the oven, and place a turkey fryer far from the house, never on the porch or in a garage. Last holiday season, nearly 15,000 people were treated in hospital emergency rooms. 40% were treated because of a fall, usually while decorating. And it's important to remember child safety.
When you're buying toys, making sure they're age appropriate, because we do see a lot of injuries associated with small parts for children.
Research shows there has been a downward trend in injuries for children under 14 over the past 7 years. Now for a look at today's top headlines shown here in real time with real viewers at CBS7.com. You can see all of these stories and more just by downloading our app or visiting our website at CBS7.com. Still ahead, a new climate change assessment shows that things are taking a turn for the worse. We have the details up next in your environmental news. You're watching CBS 7 News at 9 on the CW. A new assessment from climate scientists and several federal agencies finds the effects of human-caused climate change in the U.S. they say are, quote, far-reaching and worsening. The report warns that by 2050, coastal flooding will happen 5 to 10 times more often than it does now if no action is taken. The U.S. is experiencing $1 billion weather disaster, an average of every 3 weeks compared to one every 4 months in the 1980s.
This assessment shows us in clear scientific terms that climate change is impacting all regions, all sectors of the United States, not just some, all. Above all, it shows us that climate action offers an opportunity for the nation to come together and do some really big things.
One bright spot in the report, greenhouse gas emissions in the U.S. have actually dropped 12% since 2005.
Well, finally, some sun in our forecast here over the next couple of days. We'll talk about that, before Thanksgiving weekend, I should say, and the Thanksgiving holiday week coming up next.
Now, from the CBS7 First Alert Weather Center, here's Chief Meteorologist Tom Tiefertiller.
Well, let's try that again. Still dealing with some low clouds across the area. I'm tired of clouds, I'll tell you that, but we still got some out there, and it looks like they're going to hang around in our forecast through the early morning hours. Could see some areas of patchy fog, too, first thing in the morning. Can't rule out some drizzle, but I think by noontime things will really be winding down as we're still dealing with the clouds. We're still dealing with the cool temperatures this evening into the lower to mid 50s out there. 59 in Presidio, 55 around the Big Spring area, so some warm stuff in a few locations. Trying to be a little warmer than it has been. This ridge of high pressure is going to help us out here as we move in towards the next 24 hours, as we're going to be looking for the possibility again of temperatures into the mid to upper 60s coming up for tomorrow. But we'll still have some mid to high level clouds moving across, but there will be peaks of sunshine. It won't be this gray overcast like we've been dealing with here over the past couple of days, really into the weekend. Right now, though, we still have plenty of clouds out there moving across the area. As temperatures across the state today, the coolest stuff was right here in West Texas, hanging on to the mid 50s. Whereas the rest of the state warming up lower to mid 70s out there across portions of central and southeast Texas. Now the West Texas Futurecast showing that low cloudiness hanging on for the morning hours, but after about 12 noon, I think we're going to start to get rid of it, and we should break out in the sun for tomorrow afternoon, helping warm things up And then it looks like as we move in towards the morning hours on Thursday, not dealing with the low cloudiness. So good news there across the area, just mid to high level clouds to end the week. So for the rest of tonight, keeping the clouds, patchy fog in the forecast into the early morning hours as we'll drop those temperatures into the mid 50s. Tomorrow looking at the upper 60s in our forecast. So again, a bit of an improvement, 70s down around Pecos, Fort Stockton. And everybody will get in on that coming up on Thursday before another weak front rolls in on Friday, dropping temperatures a little bit. And then for the weekend, looking pretty good before a stronger front rolls in for Thanksgiving week, at least the start of it. And that's going to drop temperatures a little bit. Right now, it looks like a mostly sunny to partly cloudy Thanksgiving with cool conditions in the forecast. And statewide travel may be dealing with some showers across the eastern southern part of the state early in the week, but overall, not looking all that bad.
Still ahead, we're talking about playoff football for our Midland schools. Hear from the Rebels and Bulldogs up next in sports.
Time now for CBS7 First Alert Sports.
Both Midland High and Legacy High have advanced to the second round of the football playoffs. For the Midland High Bulldogs, it's the first playoff win since 2016. Midland started well against El Paso Americas. The Bulldogs carried a 24-7 lead into the second half. Americas got things going late in the game, but the Dogs won 31-21. This was also Coach Thad Fortune's first playoff win as a head coach.
We go back a lot to November 13th was when we started, in my mind, kind of working towards this year. November 13th, 2022 was our first morning lift of the 2023 season. And so just the countless hours and sacrifice that our players, their families, and everybody has put in makes it really special.
The Bulldogs will have a home playoff game for the second week in a row. Midland hosts the number 7 team in the state, Trophy Club Byron Nelson. They are undefeated this year. Kickoff is 6 p.m. Friday at Astound Broadband Stadium. Across town, the second round is like a second home for Midland Legacy. This is the 7th year in a row that the Rebels have advanced in the playoffs. El Paso Montwood was the latest victim. The Rebels crushed the Rams 64-19. Now Legacy is one of just 32 teams still playing for the state title.
You know, you don't take the job like this unless you plan on being that. You know, if we weren't going to continue to win games and be gold balls, there's going to be somebody else talking to y'all, and I don't like that. I want to be here. You know, I love this place. I want my daughter to graduate, who's 11 years old, as a Rebel. You know, and if you're going to do something in life, you better damn well be good at it. You know, so if we're going to not be very good at it, I'm getting out of this deal. You know.
Now the Rebels face Euless Trinity. These teams played in the second round back in 2020, Legacy losing a heartbreaker 56-49. They will try to get payback at 4 p.m. on Saturday in Bedford, which is just north of Fort Worth. Our very own Jair Brooks Davis will make that trip. He will cover Permian's playoff game in Abilene on Friday, then Legacy's game in Fort Worth on Saturday. You can follow along here on CBS7 as well as our social media pages for coverage. And be sure to tune in to CBS7 News at 10 for more local sports coverage with CBS7 Sports Director Jacob Brandenburg. Still ahead, a sweet giveaway includes a first ever edible Xbox controller and Willy Wonka-inspired game console and real controller. We've got the delectable details up next. All right, before we go, here's something. Xbox has some sweet new controllers. Tom, you're always watching for the game stuff. And by sweet, we mean edible. This one is made of pure chocolate. It's part of Xbox's partnership with Warner Brothers Entertainment for a giveaway to promote the upcoming Wonka film. How about that? In addition to the 100% pure chocolate controller, the winner also gets a Wonka-inspired Series X game console, a real controller, and 5 chocolate truffles. You can enter to win by following Xbox on X, formerly known as Twitter, and then retweeting the official sweepstakes post. Kind of a tasty thing, which might be good just to have to eat.
Yeah, and plus that special edition Xbox Series X there, it looks like a Wonka bar will be.
That's kind of cool. That'd be cool to have, yeah.
Good stuff, just in time for Christmas.
Just in time for Christmas, right around the corner.
That's right. Thanksgiving, though, is on the way, and the weather looks like it's going to be okay. We'll finally break into some sun tomorrow afternoon.
All right. Thanks for joining us here for CBS 7 First Alert News at 9 on the CW. More news tonight at 10.